Have you started your coaching business and now you're wondering what the heck you're actually going to sell? If so, you have landed on the right video because I'm about to walk you through my 6-step framework that I take all of my clients through to help them create their signature and profitable coaching program. It's one thing to make it signature, it's another thing to make sure that it's profitable so that you can actually get your coaching business off the ground and start making a huge impact. So I like to jump right into it, cut the fluff. Number 1, it is so important before you even make your program, create your program, think about a program, that you have an aligned niche. Not just any old niche, an aligned one that is specific to you and your life experiences. If this is the first video that you're watching of mine, I am a niche coach and I help people extract their aligned and profitable niches from their story. So you're going to be hearing me talk about that probably throughout this whole video of how important it is that your niche comes from something that you have experienced in your life so that you have that alignment. That alignment is huge. If you are kind of iffy about your coaching business right now and you're watching this, that could be why you've been struggling to come up with a program, because in actuality, your coaching business isn't really aligned. Maybe you have a coaching business that you feel like you should be doing versus one that you actually want to be doing because you saw somebody make 7 figures online and so now you want to become the coach that they were in hopes of doing the same. If that is something that you are experiencing right now, I want you to pause this video and I want you to go into my Find Your Niche playlist and watch those videos because I show you there how to find your aligned niche that is of utmost importance before you even think about putting together your product suite. So that's number 1. Number 2, assuming that you have your aligned niche, you are gung-ho, you are so ready to get going, this is what I want you to do. Grab a notebook or a piece of paper, or you can pause this video and type it out kind of as I'm going. But I want you to write out the end result that people are going to get working with you. We're working backwards here because what we're going to do is we're going to take that end result and we're going to reverse engineer it. So, for example, I'm going to use myself as examples throughout this to really help you guys understand this whole concept. So, I am a niche coach. I help people figure out their niches and turn their stories into thriving coaching businesses. So, what I do in my 3-month signature program, how I started was I wrote out what will people walk away with when they are done working with me. Now, people are going to buy your program for 2 reasons. Number 1, the transformation. They want to know that they're going to walk away with something. They don't want to just be inspired. They want to walk away with something tangible. So please make sure that this end result is tangible. It's not something light and fluffy and kind of beating around the bush. It is tangible. It is a number. It is an object. It is a thing that they are going to be walking away with. And then what I do, so my end result is people who work with me for 3 months is they at that point will have a thriving coaching business. They will at that point have turned their story into a business. They are going to know what their aligned niche is. They are going to have a product suite that is revolved around their life, right? Like something that's really aligned with them. And they're going to have an aligned sales strategy. So they are not only going to know how to sell, but they're going to sell in a way that's very authentic and natural to them that really fuses in their uniqueness. That's what people walk away with at the end of working with me. So I took all that and then I broke it down into phases. So write out what people are going to walk away with once they're done working with you. And this is like, so if you need help with this, watch my I help statement video or my niche statement video because the tangible is going to be in your niche statement. So if you're feeling confused right now, like the tangible is in the niche statement. So take that and then we're going to reverse it back. So now that we have that, we want to extract your framework. Every single one of you has a unique framework. Even if you're watching this right now and rolling your eyes and you're like, Gabby, there is no way. I don't have a uniqueness. There's no unique way that I did this. There is. Because the way that you approached your end result may have been different from how somebody else approached theirs. You want to own that framework. If it's a 3, you can turn it into a signature trio. I have a signature trio. It is niche clarity, profitable product suites, and aligned sales. That's my 3 there, so I call it a signature trio. You want to own that because people want to be a part of something, right? They want to know that you have this really cool framework that has gotten these people results. And if you're just starting out and you haven't helped anyone, you will get there. You will get there. But just start with extracting this framework the best way you can. So some of my clients have had ones that are all C's, so they call it like the 4C framework. Other ones have had signature trios. Other ones have had 4, and they've had a 4-step framework, and that's what they call it, the 4-step framework to XYZ. And another note, just for you guys to kind of have in the back of your heads as you scale, is to trademark that framework. That's huge because it makes it so much more legitimate, and it really just like solidifies that this is real, this is your framework, and it works. So have that in the back of your mind. But I want you to sit down and extract your step-by-step that you individually did to get to your end result. This is why having that aligned niche, a niche that you've personally experienced in your life, is so important, and why I preach it, because you have a signature framework. Now it's a matter of marketing that signature framework. But before you can market it, you have to own it. A lot of people struggle with that. And this is where a lot of the healing is going to come up. And healing is going to be a whole different playlist of mine if you need it. But extract that framework the best you can. And if you want my eyes on it, drop it in the comments. I will give my feedback on it in 2 seconds. So once you have that framework, let's say it takes you 3 steps to get there, right? For me, I knew that people needed to be really clear on their niche and get super grounded in it. And under that includes their I help statement, figuring out their dream customer, their messaging, and so forth. The next part of it was profitable product suites, not programs, because I think that coaches don't just need a program, right? They can have whatever product suite they want, whatever's aligned with them. That's huge for me. And then aligned sales. So I knew that there was really 3 big buckets there to get people to my end result. So now that you have your framework, let's break your buckets down into phases. The best way to do that is to treat each phase as a month. So how many sessions do you feel you need to do with somebody to get to their end result? Now, if you have not booked any clients yet, you're going, just like use your best judgment here, because you're gonna find it. I did. If that part just comes from experience, you may do a session every week and then realize, oh wow, that's kind of a lot. I think I can do every other week. That part's gonna come from experience. So your first 3 clients are really kind of like trialing and erroring, and you're really delivering the end result always. Always, always. I don't believe that you have to beta price this at all because you have experience, you've gotten yourself the result, but you're going to likely just kind of shift things up as you continue to scale. I still do that in my business. After every single 3-month client ends with me, I look back and I say, what would I have changed, anything like that, to make sure that I'm constantly innovating and being the best I can. That's my deepest suggestion for you guys as well. Break those down into phases. So to give you an example, the way that my phases look, I first started, my program is 12 weeks and always has been, and I started taking people every single week, like 1 session a week, and I realized it was just way too much. For my clients, they needed some space in between to implement. So I do bi-weekly. So I meet with these people 6 times and we Voxer all the time, but just meeting every week was too much. Now, you may want to start by meeting every single week to just test it out. That's up to you, but figure out the amount of times that you have to meet with people in each phase to get them closer to this result. Now, When it comes to meetings, this is where it really kind of trips people up. I want you to break down your phase, month 1, phase 1, example on mine, niche clarity. What do you want to get done? What are your goals to accomplish in that month period, right? In that single phase period. What I don't want you to do is break down every single session and what you're going to do in every single session, because you're going to find that each client is much different, very different. One client, you may have to spend 2 weeks on a certain something, where your next client, they do it in 30 minutes and they're good. So you're just going to trip yourself up if you map out every single session with them beforehand. Like I'm talking right now, as you sign your client and as your relationship progresses and your time progresses, come prepared with an agenda to each meeting that you know you want to do to help get them to the next level. But don't prepare that agenda now before you've met with anyone. Just come up with goals you want to accomplish in each phase, and then kind of revolve your sessions around that. Make sure in your program, guys, you treat each person as an individual. Nobody wants cookie cutter anymore. Nobody wants, here's my signature framework, it's gonna work for you too, or here's the exact thing that's gonna work for you. No, you take your signature framework and you adapt it to your client as an individual. So if you have every single session mapped out before you guys have even met, it could be really overwhelming to the client and a turnoff where it's like, well, what if I've progressed further than this? Or what if I'm not there yet by week 6, but this is already solidified? So definitely write down a couple goals you want to achieve in the month, but don't do each session like divided by those goals and stuff. Just attain those goals as you guys are moving and go at the pace of your client. Number 5, you want to figure out, now that you have your phases broken down, what is included as an incentive in your program. Do you include unlimited Voxer support? Do you include Monday through Friday Voxer support? And if you're not familiar with what Voxer is a free app. You can do the free or the paid version. The paid version I think is quite cheap, but I personally use the free. I've never had to use the paid version and I use it all the time. It's free for your client and it's an app that you can download on Android or Apple, where you can communicate with your client via walkie-talkie, like voice notes, or through text without having to give your number. So this is great from a coaching perspective because it's really good for you to implement boundaries, which will be a whole other video. But it's a great way for you to be able to communicate with your client without giving away, your privacy and your phone number. And for your client, it's a really good experience to be able to get in touch with you after, outside of your sessions if they have a pressing question. So that's something I always recommend people include around your boundaries though. Don't feel like you have to work on the weekends. I don't. My Voxer is shut off by 5 p.m. on Friday. All my clients know that. Make sure you have strong boundaries around Voxer, but I do recommend including that because it's a great white glove service add-on, and it's also great for when you're doing your pricing. Something I do too is I personally write my notes for my clients. I do those live. Some people like to do them afterwards and send like a summary email. I do it live on a shared Google Doc that we have together, provide action items, things like that. So really sit down and write out like what feels good for you to include for your client so that they get the best experience possible working with you, and so that they refer you, right? So that if they have a great experience, you're getting them great results, they're going to refer you to their friends and their family and whomever. And I will tell you right now, referrals can be your number one income source. So you want to make sure that you go above and beyond for your clients. And that does not mean sacrificing your boundaries. That means providing a very good experience and delivering a strong, tangible end result. I can't stress that enough. The last part of this is to put together your price. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say your first program has to be priced at this for a couple different reasons. Number one, as I said in the beginning, I treat each person as their own individual. I'm not going to sit here and say it's got to be at least $3,000 when I don't even know what your program is or what your end result is. I think anybody who does that is not giving you the best advice. I would want to see exactly what your program is, and then I could tell you what my suggestion of pricing would be. The other reason why I don't do that is because and this is a little controversial, but when it comes to sales, if I tell you, you have to price that at $7,000 and you've never sold anything before, let alone your own thing, you're probably not going to sell that. And even if you muster up the energy to do that on a sales call or a discovery call, and you're not behind that number, you're not aligned with it, your energy is going to shift on that call, and that's just the dead giveaway. So I approach sales a little bit differently, and those will be other videos, but that's another reason why. I would want to sit down with you and really figure out where you're comfortable selling, make sure that your program's aligned with that, and then my suggestion, and meet in the middle some way, somehow. That's how I do it with my clients, and then scale from there. So I apologize that I'm not giving you an exact number, but please know I'm doing that out of the goodness of my heart so that you are not misdirected at all. Because I see so much of that, and I do not want to be in on that game. So that is my suggestion. But when it does come to pricing, my suggestion is to get an expert's opinion on it, because if you price yourself too low, it's going to be obvious, and that could really turn people away. But if you price yourself extraordinarily high, it could do the same, like you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So I'd really suggest getting an expert's opinion on that. And just another tip for your whole program is, if you've had a coach before, what did you like that they did? Did you like that they included Voxer? Did you like that they, maybe emailed you a summary? Write out what you liked as a client so that you can include that on your end too. If they did shared Google Docs and you really liked that experience, do the same. Thank your coach for that experience and do the same for yours. By no means do I mean copying anybody's framework at all. It is, please, please, please do not do that. It is awful. People have stolen mine. I have seen people steal other. It's awful. Please do not do that. But if you've had a nice experience, right, with some sort of incentive, Voxer, recorded Zooms, whatever, thank your coach for that, and don't hesitate to implement that for your clients as well. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please, please, please leave them below. I will answer them. If you want my eyes on like your framework or something, leave them in a comment below and I will happily respond.